Well, I want to make this video in response to my last video, the ayahuasca video. I was just kind of trying to be funny, you know. But I can see that some people were interested in the ayahuasca experience, as am I. I mean, I'm not going to lie. In all seriousness, psychedelic drugs, I've had some experience. I liked it. I thought it was good, and I'd like to do ayahuasca. I am afraid, like one commenter said, a lot of tourists go down there and die because people, now it's a big thing. There's money to be made, and now, of course, all kinds of, hustlers are down there trying to make a buck, selling people whatever, any kind of brew they can cook up in their kitchen. Who knows what's going on? But I totally agree. I would be afraid if some guy named Juan showed up with a big, milk jug full of brown liquid and said, "Hey, drink this shit." I'd probably be kind of nervous to drink it. I don't think I would do it. But I did smoke DMT. That was another suggestion that he made. Smoke DMT. And I did smoke DMT one time. It was actually a great experience. It was probably about 5 or 6 years ago. It was in Austin. I was at an open mic, and some guy, I had been learning about DMT on the internet and whatnot, and I watched a Joe Rogan podcast. They talked about it. And I was at an open mic, and this guy I know comes up. He goes, "Hey, you want to buy some DMT?" Just out of nowhere. It was weird. And I said, yes, I do want to buy DMT. I almost never turn down any kind of drug. Like, yes, I would like to. So if he came up and said, "You want to buy heroin?" I probably would have bought it, even if I didn't really mean to take it. I would just want. I just can't. I'm fucked up that way. It's like I can't turn down drugs. But this guy goes, "You want to buy DMT?" So I bought it, and he taught me how to smoke it, and what to do. And I made this little foil pipe, and I put tobacco in it, and I put the DMT on top, and I lit it from beneath. I didn't want to burn the DMT, and I smoked it. I didn't know what I was expecting, and it was just once it came on, man, it came on real strong, and it was just a really. It's hard for me to even describe what it was like because it was pretty detailed. I mean, you start seeing patterns. All of a sudden, I was looking at the grass. I was sitting on the porch at night outside this place I was renting, and I looked at the grass, and all of a sudden, I started to see patterns starting to happen in the grass, and I knew that it was starting to kick in because I'd taken acid a few times, and I know that the pattern thing starts to happen. But here's the craziest thing about it. I felt like my mind, whatever my mind is, whatever my consciousness is, I feel like it's self-contained. You feel like your mind is right there in your brain, and that's it, right? It's made up of all your personal experiences, things that you've, learned, gone through, read, or whatever, or people have told you. And that's just what your whole world is made up of. Just whatever input you've put into your own mind, that's how you can see the world. However you've developed your mind is how the world appears to you. That's something I really didn't really think about or understand, or wasn't even really aware of that concept. And then when I smoked DMT, I felt like my mind that had been just whatever inside me all these years kind of left me. It left me, and it joined this huge, massive consciousness of some sort. And I felt like every living creature had the same juice current running through it, right? Life energy. You ever look at a dead animal or something and you see its eyes? There's just these lifeless eyes, and it sort of strikes you in the contrast of the lifeless eye and the eye of a living creature. And there's obviously some spark there. There's some sort of intangible, almost magical thing that's running through bodies that makes them alive. It's not just your heartbeats and your lungs are working. It's just there's something else there that makes things alive. And whatever that was in me, it felt like it left my body and joined the whole, just the source. That's that word. I hear that a lot, the source. But it's, that's the only way I could describe it. And it felt like all the thoughts that I usually have, all my little insecure little thoughts, my mean-spirited, jealous little shitty thoughts, I felt like they kind of took a back seat. They kind of got suppressed, and I felt like I was having thoughts I never have before, ever. No way that I could have developed all this weird perspective I was suddenly having as I thought about life, and I thought about just my life, other people. I started thinking about just the world in general, and I had, instead of having this mean little "it's me against the world" view, which I kind of have, I dropped that. Like, it just dissolved. It's like called an ego death. I read about it later, and that's, they say you just have this, like, your ego, your identity as just you, this individual, kind of melts away, and suddenly you feel a part of everything, right? And you feel like a certain, I don't know, affection, I guess, for instead of having sort of a fear, you have a kind of affection and a fearlessness about everything and people. You feel like you're them and they're you. As hippy dippy as that sounds, and every time some people talk like that, I never really understood it, and I thought it was some hippie horse shit. But I really felt it really strong. And for the first time, I didn't give a shit about my own identity. Like, because when you're a narcissist like me, when you've just been sort of self-absorbed your entire life, it's, you're obsessed in a way with like what you're doing and what you should be doing and what you've done, and telling yourself a story about yourself that you like better, and trying to see yourself in this way or that, and put this context. You're always messing with your own identity. You're obsessed with your own identity. And for the first time, I was amazed. I didn't give a fuck about my own identity. I didn't care about. I could have died right there on the porch, and I wouldn't have given a shit. I felt like whatever my mind is made up of, whatever that magic spark is, I felt like that would go on forever, and my body is just here for now, and it's going to be gone, and that's okay. It's like it's not going to end when my body dies. It's just what I felt. And it was a great experience, and I felt, and my sense of time, and I sense it expanded huge. Like, my sense of time now is that it's just my own little lifetime, right? A year, 5-year chunks, thinking about that. 5 years seems like an enormous amount of time to me. But suddenly, that thousands of years didn't. It seemed like not that much time. That's kind of the perspective I have, and it felt like I was having conversations with other minds, I guess. Like, I wasn't talking, but I could understand things were talking to me, I guess. But what I really liked about it, though, was that for the first time I really didn't. My own just life didn't really mean anything. It was meaningless, and instead of feeling like down about that, like, I'm meaningless, I felt really good about that. And I've also felt like, I said, isn't this great? I have this chance. I'm inside this body, and I'm on this planet. Who knows if there's any other planet like this in the universe? I don't know. I mean, there probably is, but this is a pretty unique situation, just to be here on this planet, to be a living creature, to have your consciousness put into this thing. If you have a body, if you ever just look at your hand and just think, this is a pretty amazing piece of machinery here. It's engineering. It's how complicated your hand is. Like, if you opened it up and see all this shit moving around in there, and you think, did this get designed or whatever? I don't know how it came to be, but this is pretty amazing to have a hand, just to have a body, right? And just, like, your life is meaningless, so it's like nothing really matters. It's like you don't have anything you have to accomplish to make it meaningful, and there's nothing that's going to make it ultimately mean anything. But at the same time, you're lucky, and it's an incredible opportunity to have experiences, and it's great. It's awesome. And that's what I came away with, was these petty things that I bitch about. I was almost being like reprimanded by some deities. I wish I had a better way to explain this without all that spiritual talk shit, but I just felt really lucky, and enthused about life again. In just this general way, just being alive was great, and that was all. That was it. Like if you're alive and you're healthy and you're here and you're you have a family, friends, or whatever. And, I just felt really grateful for this. Instead of being like, I need a job, and I don't do this, and I'm almost this age, and I haven't blah blah blah, and like my dad's disappointed in me, and I jerked off in the van in front of Smart and Final. Who does that? Instead of just being down on like my little day-to-day little activities or who I was and how I need to get better. For the first time, I didn't have that. I didn't give a shit. I was just happy. I was just happy to be a person living on a planet and getting to have all these experiences. It was awesome. And I guess that's what I like that feeling, and I guess that's what I'm chasing. I guess that's what I'm doing the meditation thing, is because I want to get that back. But I don't want to have to use a drug every time. Like now I drink beer. When it's like I want to get released from my own shitty, negative, fearful thinking. I drink. Right? And it's great. Drinking is great, and it makes you feel enthusiastic, and it makes you feel kind of fearless, and I love that feeling. And it makes you like people more. It makes you want to talk to people. And I'm sort of a shy person, sort of a little bit of a hermit. So it's nice to have that connection with people, even if it's just for a couple hours. But the alcohol, it takes a toll on your health. It takes a toll on your thinking, on your you pay a price. Every time you want to have that little escape, you're paying a little price. And I think that you pay a price for every shortcut you take in life. You pay some kind of price. And like I feel like at this age, I can't afford to keep paying this little toll every time I want to have a little escape. Right? I have to try to work at it. Right? If I drink, I suddenly feel like I have energy. I feel good, But that's the shortcut. The long way is to go to the gym, is to eat right, is to, put work into it consistently, day after day. Be disciplined, and then you have, you reach a higher state of being, physically, mentally, emotionally. But it takes work, and you have to sustain that. But ultimately it is sustainable. It's much more sustainable than just getting high, having like see God for a second or whatever, or drink and want to hang out with people and feel good for a couple hours, and then it's over. And then you're down even lower afterwards. But one thing I did, that was cool about doing DMT, and that I did mushrooms one time, and the mushroom trip was another whole, like a different type of thing. It was similar but different. And it felt the same thing, like I was taken out of my body, and I was able to like watch myself. I tapped into the ancient, massive consciousness, ocean, wisdom source again. But this time it took me on like a journey of watching myself in my life doing shitty, selfish, like thoughtless things, just making dumb decisions, neglecting people that try to help me, and you know what I mean, and just having just a shitty point of view on everything. The mushroom trip kind of made me watch myself be a shithead. And then when I came down, I was like, oh my God, I don't want to be a shithead anymore. I can't believe I've acted like this. I have to apologize to like 100 people. I have to contact that kid in 3rd grade that I threw shit at him, and I was just a dick, and he cried. And I've never, I'm paying some cosmic toll for that still. It's like, you know what I mean? It was a good thing, but it was painful. But what it leaves you with is, you don't have to be stuck in your shitty. You can actually stay here. You don't have to go back to your shitty. Now that you know that what it feels like to be here, you can get here again. But I can't, like I said, I can't just take drugs every time I want to do it. I gotta work my way up out of my shitty state of mind into something more sustainable. Did I say sustainable? Sustainable. And that's why I say I want to do ayahuasca. It's like saying, I know that it's cheating, but I just want to be reminded. I want to be shown again. I need to be slapped in the face hard from whatever is out there that kind of takes over my mind. Like, it just pushes my ego aside, and all of a sudden just floods my mind with all these new perspectives. It's great. And it lasted months. After those 2 trips, the DMT and the mushroom trip, for months after that, I was in a much better mood. Much better. And I read all these articles about how it helps depression. I totally understand that. Because it breaks you out of your thought patterns. Like, you're stuck in a prison of your own shitty little habitual thoughts, and it just smashes that. And you get to be free for a while. And then when you come down, when you're sober again, you still remember. You remember what it was like to not have those same shitty thoughts all the time, all day, every day. And it was great. But of course, you come back down into it. You're fine here for a while, but then, your shittiness is still in there, and then all of a sudden you sink back down to your little tiny subjective world becomes the real world again. And you lose track of the fact that my little mind is this, and there's this much endless amount of territory for my mind to be in, but I've trapped it right here in my little tiny little subjective point of view. Like when I don't like a lot of people. A lot of people just bother me, and I think shitty things about them. And that's just really just a reflection on my own state of mind, I guess. And you've heard that said a million times, so have I. If you've read a self-help book. But when you take some hallucinogenic drug, you really see what they mean by that. Because you have a whole different way of thinking. It just sucks you right out of yourself. Your own identity doesn't mean shit to you. You lose all track of really giving a shit about it. All the time you've invested means nothing. It's a good feeling. And that's what I'm hoping to sort of work my way back into. Meditating, living a better life, maybe being a little less selfish. Maybe I'll volunteer. And I volunteered a few times at places, and it's not fun, I'm not going to lie, but you do feel kind of good doing something, putting some work into something that's not just for you, just to forward your own little agenda. It's kind of nice. So yeah, that's what I have to say about that ayahuasca thing. But yeah, it's true. I don't want to go down there and have Juan give me something wacky shit that kills me, and then my mom's gonna get a call from some hospital morgue place down in, Nicaragua or wherever you go to get the shit. And then I have to have my body shipped up. My mom is going to have to coordinate all that. Have my body cremated, possibly. Purchase an urn. It's just a lot. I don't want to put my mom through all that. So I'm probably not going to do ayahuasca. And you know what? Just because I made a joke about being raped in the phone booth by my imaginary shaman, it doesn't give you license, Mr. Diddley, to be vulgar. That's not called for at all. You should be ashamed of yourself. Really, you should. But I appreciate the comment, though. It's just nice to get, even if it's just a terrible, vulgar, unenlightened, in your own ego comment, totally non-spiritual way of thinking. I feel sorry for you. You need to meditate, sir. You need to meditate. I have meditated for 5 days, so I think that makes me spiritually superior to you. I feel okay about criticizing you like this. Okay? Alright. I feel better. I feel better now. I hope you guys got something out of that. I do.